ones. It's Paul and on the Night Cafe radio show on this Monday night. Good evening to you. Welcome. 3 minutes after 9 tonight, and it's time for Monday Motivation. And we've got a new resident on Monday Motivation tonight. I'm so excited to be introducing to you in a short while. She's on the line. It's Dr. Sherona Rawat, who's a clinical psychologist. Just a bit of a background on her. She is, as I mentioned, a clinical psychologist in a private practice and completed her postgraduate degrees at the prestigious University of KZN PMB campus, an internationally acclaimed institute that is well known for leading training facility for clinical psychology with many leading organizations residing on boards at the United Nations, World Health Organization, ethics community, holding research grants from the USA. Apart from that, she's been on many radio stations as well, and magazines, on television as well. She is brilliant at what she does. She encourages a holistic outlook to mental health and recommends a range of natural supplements with appropriate documented positive results in the management of mental health, wellness and psychological conditions. So she's on the show tonight, and I'm so excited for the all-new resident on Monday Motivation. Very good evening, Dr. Sherona Rawat. Welcome to the Night Cafe.
Thank you so much for having me on and for inviting me to partake in your show. I'm absolutely excited myself to continue with this.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for making the time and, allowing us your time on a Monday. I know you have, quite a hectic life. And, just for you to come through it's going to be now from every Monday to be on the show, inspiring people, helping people achieve greatness in their life. And I think this is just a salute to you. Thank you so much for making the time again on Monday Motivation. So as I mentioned, the show is very relaxed. We're going to get into tonight's Monday Motivation, and we're talking about something that I think everyone's going through at the moment, Doctor, where they are feeling negative with regards to what's happening with this COVID-19. So tonight we're talking about how to be positive but negative during COVID-19. Explain that one. That's a bit confusing.
Absolutely. I was looking for a kind of nice catchphrase.
Yeah.
And what I thought would work beautifully was, that we want to stay positive but also negative.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So it actually kept to the point. So, yeah, that's what it means. Being stay positive, having a positive attitude, working with what you've got, but also remaining negative, which means negative, obviously, to the COVID-19 virus. Following the protocols, doing what needs to be done,
yes.
Taking care of yourself and making sure that all the preventative measures are being adhered to.
Fantastic. So we'd love for you to be, if you're listening in right now, if you'd like to engage with the doctor tonight, you can drop through a message on the WhatsApp line at 071-613-7803. Doctor, let's get into tonight's discussion. How can people remain positive around this COVID-19? I'm be honest with you, I've got family as well that are just feeling this tension at the moment, being at home, being isolated, not seeing family, not seeing friends. How do people cope around this time?
I think, the biggest issue with this pandemic is the fear and anxiety. And the fear and anxiety comes from the unknown, coming from, so many kind of different parameters that are involved here, so many inconsistencies, so many unknowns. And I think that's where we need to start, because there are varying degrees of information out there.
Yes.
And not all of it is in our ballpark. Let's put it that way. Nobody's coming over tomorrow to say, hey, we need you to pop by and help us develop the vaccine. So people need to put things into perspective. They don't need to know everything that's out there. They don't need to be on the cutting edge of what's going on. It can be very confusing for the lay person to deal with some of the information that's out there, and deal with some of the information that's being dissipated, through our community.
Yes.
So I think, very simply, we need to look at what is it that we know. We know that people are getting sick, right? We know that some do not get this virus. We know that some do get it but have no symptoms. We know that some get a little sick. We know that some get extremely sick. And we know that some infections result in death, right? So we know this. What do we not know? We don't know why some people get it and others do not. We do not know why some people get some symptoms while others, the simple, minor symptoms, while others die from it. And I mean, are we able to build an immunity? That's something also that we're still working on. And if so, for how long does this immunity last? So those are the unknowns in it. And I think this is what we really need to keep abreast of as individuals out in the community. That is all that we need to kind of ponder over and look into. That's all that we need to keep updates with. So in other words, have they found out about the immunity? Is there a way? Are they doing best? That's all. We don't really need to go into too much of detail. Going into too much of detail, as if we've got like our own little mini news network, circulating information at the speed of light across WhatsApp and that kind of thing, actually grows our anxiety and it grows our stress.
You're so right. You're so right about that.
Absolutely. So we're getting overexposure. And that overexposure is overwhelming us, and it increases our fear and anxiety. So we need to know.
You're talking about that, Doctor. I've got my dad who's just over 60 years, and he's getting all this information. He's watching the news, he's reading the newspapers. He's trying to keep updated with what's happening. He always calls and he says, "Did you hear this? Did you hear that?" And you can hear that he's scared. He is very scared to go out in public. He's scared to, of catching this virus. So he's literally having sleepless nights because of it.
Absolutely, and again, that's because of a lot of the unknowns that are out there about this virus, and the fact that a lot of us have put a lot of faith into the bigger community out there, the bigger world, where we feel that the scientists and the doctors will take care of this or that, so we won't have those dangers and they'll look after it. And this virus has turned everybody's world upside down. One of the biggest things that human beings look for is control over the situation. So we're looking for control, and because there are so many unknowns, you can't get control over the whole situation. So you need to look at the bigger picture and understand that there is a line that you need to draw. And then you need to draw that line around yourself. And then you need to look at what it is that you can control. So you cannot control everything. We don't need to control everything either. We want to control it. That's the difference,
That is true. That's right, yeah.
There is a saying that Khalil Gibran says, our anxiety does not come from thinking about the future. It comes from wanting to control it. So when we look at that, we can see how that's a want. It's not a need. We actually can't control our immediate environment, and we can't control our homes and our immediate family around us. So we do have some control over that, and that's what we need to focus on. So we need to draw the lines in of it and focus on the things that we can control, things that you can change, things that you are in charge of. So we bring our locus of control in, and we pull it as small or as large as we need it to be for our comfort. So, for example, if your dad, for example, is at home, so he needs to just manage his environment within his home.
Yes.
He needs to make sure that the rules, the preventative measures, all those things are applied for within his home and within the parameter of his home. So he has a right to refuse somebody coming in to visit, because that might bring in the virus. He has to look after his small environment.
That's right.
But to me, that has to go into a hospital. My parameter is a little bit, my kind of boundary is a little bit bigger. And I have to go into the hospital.
Doctor, are you still there? Welcome back, dear.
Hi, I'm back.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. Sounding much, much, much clearer now. I've got to tell you, I'm already seeing WhatsApp messages here in studio, and people are enjoying the discussion and the conversation tonight, and you're giving them that inspiration that they need. So fantastic. Let's carry on.
Okay, excellent.
We left off on how to remain positive, and I know what you said, that in your own space that you have in your home, you are the protector.
To keep control of your own space,
exactly.
to have your own parameters, to decide that what works for you. So I'm not sure how much you guys were able to hear what I said, but I just carried on talking. I didn't know it got cut off.
No, we heard all. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, that's basically what we've got to do. We've got to pull in, we've got to hone in, we've got to decide that what's within our arena and manage and control that.
Yes.
And this gives us a feeling of control, gives us a feeling of empowerment.
Yes.
And a feeling of an empowerment obviously helps keep us mentally healthier, because feelings of disempowerment is what feeds into things like depression and things like that. So we feel in control of it, we're managing our area, we're managing the situation, we feel stronger and we feel more empowered. So what happens is that works against the fear and anxiety, you know. I mean, people are mainly afraid of, you know, how can they keep themselves safe, how can they keep their family safe, losing a loved one. People are suffering from financial issues. There's issues with working from home.
Let's talk about that. Sorry, Doctor, if I can just interject. I got a message in here from somebody who says that, you know, they are feeling stressed right now. They haven't been at work, or they haven't had a job since April of this year, right? So things are very tough in their home. They are feeling very edgy at the moment. What's your advice, you know, how to handle this kind of situation right now?
You know, I think what is the biggest thing, and I know this is not going to sound too nice, really, but what's the biggest thing? I think the most comforting thing is we're all in the same boat. So the whole world is in the same boat. So everybody is getting unpaid. Everybody is getting. They have lost their productivity. They've lost income. They've lost jobs.
Yes.
The person that's not suffering the consequences financially. So that being said, you know, we're not alone in this. This is across the board. On the one hand, it will make certain opportunities available for us, because government and institutions need to come on board and need to assist with this, which is what's happening compared to if you were going through a financial issue or lost your job on your own in the past, where, you know, you're basically on your own.
Yes.
So here there are certain elements that can come in that you cannot. We need to access those resources. The next thing I have to say is there's not much that anybody can do except maybe give somebody finances to actually help somebody feel better about not having their finances.
I guess this is where the human spirit comes in. You know, it's about giving and helping. So everyone out there, if you know somebody is going through a tough time right now, go and assist them. And it's not about going up on social media and putting up photos and pictures and telling the person how I helped them and whatever. It's about helping them without any sort of reward from it. So go on to, go if you know of a neighbor, of a friend, a colleague that's going through a tough time, see what you can do to try and help them out.
Absolutely. I mean, we need to look at, we need to work together. And that's what's important. So, you know, there's a lot of negative stuff that's come out of this.
That's right. Yeah.
But there's also quite a bit of positive stuff, in that we're seeing a lot of things in individuals that we might not have seen before. There's opportunities for people to grow and to develop, to help other people, to know your neighbor, you know. Little things like that got overlooked in the past. So, you know, there are certain things that we can pull out of this that actually will help us become better people as we move on. Exactly what you said just now, where a lot of people who have that to spare can actually go out and assist other people. And there's many ways of assisting people. It doesn't necessarily mean money, or it doesn't necessarily mean food.
That's
it doesn't necessarily mean clothes. It can be kind. It can be, just a positive word. It can be a message. Whatever it is, the giving is actually coming out. And I think that is the most important thing, that the communities are actually starting to build together and take care of each other. And I mean, things that also work. For example, when I said working from home can be a very big challenge. But in South Africa, that wasn't an option for many people in the past. And there's many women that are single parents, or people that have problems with daycare for their children, or traveling issues and things like that, that actually working from home works for them. So there's that opportunity to come up. So there's difficulties and there's weaning kind of issues there. But there's also the potential for things to grow out of this. So even, for example, learning how to manage your time, you know, entertaining yourself. How many people don't know how to live with themselves? How many people don't know how to spend time with themselves? Because when they've never been alone, whenever they are, they've always looked for a distraction. And now those distractions are not available. So it is now opportunity for people to actually start developing themselves, learning about themselves, and building themselves up as people. So, while this pandemic is going on with lockdowns and restricting our movement and restricting our productivity, but in doing that, it is also leaving a chunk of time open there for us to do as we choose. And if we choose to do things that are positive, and we choose to build on ourselves and work with that time, do the things that you dreamt of doing that you couldn't do before. And that is what would be a productive way of using this kind of time as opportunity, because once it's gone and we look back, we might realize that some of that difficult time fall within the leisure category, if you could say. And we use that time in a more productive way. And we actually missed the fact that we missed that opportunity to actually build ourselves.
That's so true.
It's
true.
now
Yes.
that we need to start sizing those things.
I love you the way that you gave a different perspective into what's happening right now. We got to look at the other side of the coin, as you mentioned, which is fantastic. And any words of advice to the students out there? We've got a lot of students right now also feeling quite nervous now. Are they going to complete the year? We know what's happening with the education system at the moment because of COVID-19. What's your advice to the students out there? And also parents are feeling very anxious for, especially their kids maybe in matric this year. What is your advice to them?
I think that, like I said earlier on, we're looking at a worldwide pandemic. We're looking at something that's affecting the world. So it's not just our kids, it's across the world. Everybody is having the problem. Every university is closed. Every school is closed. It's across the world. So it's a problem that's going to have to be managed not only on an individual level, but it's going to have to be managed at a higher level as well, at a bureaucratic level as well. So institutions and government and those kind of, organizations or institutions will be having to come on board in order to manage this. So I don't think parents and students should panic so much. I think they need to actually realize that, again, we're not alone in this. It's not just you that's missing out on the trick. It's a lot of people that are missing out on the lessons and things. And there has to be a solution to this. And there will be a solution to it. There will be something that will come forward. And there will be something that will put forward at the end of the year.
Yes.
And something will come through for them to manage. You will get through this. It's not the end of the world. Sometimes there are delays. And sometimes there are misfortunes. Those are things that help us point ourselves in the right direction. Sometimes we need to change our trajectory. And so we need to look at it in that way.
True. Yes.
Instead of the way where we're looking at this is the end of the world. Because, there's been complaints about education for a long while from a lot of parents. A lot of people are unhappy about it. And there's other options. There's homeschooling options as well. And homeschooling's been taking off, it's been actually becoming quite popular in South Africa over the years. But in certain countries overseas, it's been a big thing for a very long time. And if you look at some of the homeschooling setups and you look at the quality of education and the international standards that those educations are actually, the teaching is actually, the level of teaching is at, it's remarkable. So this is opening up doors as well. So I would say that people need to take it one step at a time. If you do have your syllabus, which often people do, and you are getting lessons, which often most people are, then work with that. If you're not, they know that you and everybody in your school
I want to touch on that one, Doctor, where you said work with what you have right now. Work with what you have right now. Instead of you complaining, I see a lot of negativity on social media. Everyone's complaining.
Yes.
But try and work with what you have right now. Let's move forward. There's no point in complaining.
Yes.
Because COVID-19 is here. It's not like the South African government brought this into the country. Everyone is going through this around the world right now. People are working what they have, and they're trying to make the best of what they have right now. And things obviously will get better. They have to. They will get better eventually. It's going to take time, but eventually we're going to get there. I want to get through a couple of WhatsApp messages, Doctor, that's coming through tonight. I got this one in from, I think it is Cedric from Chatsworth. Good evening, Cedric.
A very good evening to you, Dees. And a very warm welcome to the doctor. Welcome to the Monday Motivation. To remain positive and yet be negative. It's very difficult to do that, but it is also a very positive attitude to have towards this COVID-19 because, I myself, from the time this COVID-19 have started, I've been inundated with news. I've been listening to every news every hour on Lotus, BBC, and you name it. And
Yes.
every time that I've listened to it, it was always something about the COVID-19 which has been negative. But, taking that into perspective, I decided for myself as being a sole human being, I decided that I was not going to keep listening to this news, and I decided to do something positive about it. When I listened to the protocols and the actions being taken by our government and protocols being put into place, I decided to follow it. Wear the mask, sanitize, use the gloves, keep your physical distancing and stuff like that. And you know what, doctor? It has brought me a great amount of joy to understand that I was not just saving lives of me and my family, but I was saving lives of people around us. Because remember, my mask protects you and your mask protects me. On the negative side of it, by remaining positive and adhering to the protocols and keeping to that and staying at home, staying safe, I was being negative to the COVID-19 on the whole, as well as my family. So yes, I say that is why I say I remained positive and yet negative to the COVID-19. Thank you so much, doctor. This is Cedric from Bayview in Chatsworth.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Cedric. You made a good, valid point there. Definitely.
Yes.
I love his comment tonight. Really nice.
Absolutely. It's about looking at the bigger picture,
That's
making the most of it. We know something is taken away, but new opportunities are rising every day. We need to look at the silver lining, let's put it that way, and reap the benefits of this, because there are benefits that come through from this. And as you can see, we learn, we live, we learn. So as we practice these protocols and we keep our families safe, as your caller has mentioned, we empower ourselves. And I mean, in that way, we also make sure that we and our families stay negative, which is what I find that people who have a more positive attitude and tend to follow through, they tend to be easier to actually work with. They tend to understand the social distancing and isolation, sanitizing of hand and equipment, wearing the mask. I mean, sanitizing your groceries and things when you bring them home, that kind of a thing. They understand all those things because I think they're a little bit more open as well. So when you're keeping your mind positive, you're also being a little bit more open to that kind of information. And you also, because you're being positive, you're also understanding, okay, I have a little bit of control in the situation. They are literally telling me what I need to do. It's not hard to do. It's easy to do. It's easy to keep the distance and to isolate. It's easy to stay home. It's not hard to stay home. So you just don't go out, you're staying home, It's not a hard thing to do. And, I mean, masks and things, just you got to get used to them a little bit, but it's not that hard to do. So simple things that we need to do, but we need to do them meticulously. And that is, I think, where people are having a problem, because you have to be consistent and meticulous.
That's right. I think change is something that's very difficult for lots of people. They're not used to the change, and when it happens, and it has happened very suddenly, we just got hit with this COVID-19. But a lot of people I see are adhering to it, and I think as Cedric mentioned, let's have this positive outlook on what's happening right now. We will eventually get through this, but let's protect our families and our friends from catching this COVID-19 by just following the basic rules of this. I want to get through a couple of more WhatsApp messages. There's so many coming through. I don't think I'm going to get through all tonight, unfortunately, Doctor. I've got this one in from Rini Padiachi from Scottsburg. Good evening to you, Rini. Welcome.
Good evening, Dees. This is Rini Padiachi from Scottsburg. This virus is not choosing who's who. Whatever status you are holding, what names you are holding, it doesn't choose any caste, creed or color. Everyone needs to be drawn closer to God. Prayer is the most important thing in our lives as an individual. We need to take care of ourselves. God knows when you are called. And follow all the basic instructions of life. and the way of life and how you live, because whatever you own has no purpose or point in life. Your life, your love, and your humbleness is the most important thing in life. Therefore, we need to pray and be happy in whatever we do, because whatever we do is our choice. Thank you, Dees. Good night.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Rini. Valuable points tonight, and I love that. So
Absolutely.
true. So true.
Absolutely.
There's a few more messages coming through. This one in says, hey, Dees, enjoying the show tonight. Wonderful discussion from the doctor tonight. Thank you so much for Monday motivation. Oh, they're just loving it. Thank you. That's great. I like that. Mohammed as well dropped by. Let's take a listen to Mohammed. Good evening, Mohammed. Welcome.
Good evening, Dees. I just heard on one of the radio stations the news Gwyneth Natasha's got COVID-19.
Oh.
And it was on the radio station's news at 9.
Okay. We'll definitely go and check that out. Thank you, Mohammed, for dropping by on the show tonight. This one in says, hey, Dees, I agree with everything that the doctor is saying, and we all have to be positive. Take it one day at a time with this lockdown. We eventually will get through it. Comes from Julius tonight. Thank you so much, Julius, for dropping by on the Night Cafe tonight. I've got another message in that says, Doctor, really enjoying the show tonight. Thank you so much for the valuable information that you are providing. You've put me in a better state of mind tonight listening to you. Thank you so much. Comes from Cameron, who's listening to us out in Johannesburg. Thanks for dropping by on the show. Doctor, we only got 30 minutes on the show. Your final words tonight on Monday Motivation.
Okay, well, I'm really, really happy to know that people are benefiting from this, that they're enjoying it, and that they are actually going to take something away from this that's going to bring something positive into their lives.
Hello.
So I think that there's not basic rules dealing with. There's very little effort on our side.
Yes.
I think we can nail this. So let's just do that.
Doctor, I've got one more call that's just come through on the WhatsApp tonight. Nakash, good evening to you.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing,
I
Nakash?
just want to share my
Yeah.
fine and you.
I can hear you, Doctor. Go ahead.
I just want to share.
Yeah. Hi, Nakash.
Okay, hi doc. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to share my experience, a bit of a negative one. You see, last week I was admitted into a hospital for chest pains.
Mm-hmm.
So I was admitted into casualty. So what they did is, before they could do any treatment with me, they requested me to do a COVID-19 test, which was fine.
Right.
Protocol, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
They got me to complete a form with all my contacts that I have been in contact with over the past 2 weeks, including family and friends, which I did. And I strictly abided by all the precautions, just to work, sanitize, washing hands, doing everything. Friday morning, unfortunately, I was so positive that I'm negative. But on Friday morning, the nurse comes to me and she tells me, you know what, you've tested positive, you need to go into isolation. Okay, it's a shock. It's a shock to the system. You just feel your world crumbling in front of you. But my concern is, government is saying they're doing so much, whereby we're doing contact tracing. The news was broken to me on Friday morning. Up until today, being Monday, none of my contacts have been contacted.
Right.
So that's a bit of a gray area for me. Because how many people, okay, I did what I had to do. I informed all my people that I have been in contact with. Please, this is what happened to me. But I mean, from government's point of view, how many people are slipping through the cracks that are infecting people? You get my point?
Absolutely.
I totally understand. Nakash, thanks for calling in. You can listen out on the radio for Doctor. Doctor, your reply to that one.
Well, absolutely. I mean, firstly, we all know that our government has a bit of problem with counting. So,
Let's not go there. Let's not even go there tonight.
So, I mean, the thing is, like we were saying, take charge of your your arena, your environment, within your boundaries, take charge. That's what he did. He was positive. As I said, we're not really sure of how people get infected. This is why the extra caution needs to be there. This is why they're saying isolate. This is why they're saying stay at home and they have to go out. Because we're not quite sure. We're not quite sure about the airborne aspect of it. Because although it's technically not an airborne virus, but it does stay in the air for a bit of time. So if you go into an elevator that somebody else has been in, that has sneezed in or coughed in, and has left the virus in there, you could breathe it in. So the first is that there's lots of little loopholes here, and that's why it's so important to just follow the big rules, but take responsibility, which is what the man who called in has done. He actually called his contacts and he let them know, and that is the responsible thing to do. So each individual here needs to look within themselves and manage this within themselves. So they need to manage the environment. We know what we need to do. And if you have become infected, do what you need to do. Isolate and let the people that you've been in contact with know. Don't rely on the government or anybody else to actually get things done for you. You need to do these things that you know to be right yourself. And that's where you are managing your social conscience and you're managing what is happening within your own environment. So I think that's the most important thing to take from this, that we definitely cannot rely on government to actually protect us from this virus. We have to protect ourselves.
That's right. You know, I always say this, and in the words of the late great Mohandas K. Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. So, don't expect other people. Do the things right. You make the change, and you'll see a difference in the world. Thank you so much for tonight, Doctor. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Our first one, and for many more. I can't wait for the next few weeks or the next few, months even, on Monday Motivation. It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Sherona Rawat, for joining me on the Night Cafe. And your fan bases are just growing right now. There's so many messages I can't get through all. Unfortunately, we just allocated half an hour on the show. But thank you so much for your time, and your positivity tonight has just been amazing. We love it.
Thank you. It's absolutely a pleasure.
Thank you, Doctor.
And I'll see you guys all next week.
Great stuff. Have a wonderful evening. Good night. Here we go. Dr. Sherona Rawat on Monday Motivation, a new motivator resident motivator on the Night Cafe. I'm glad you all enjoyed it tonight. Right, it's just gone 9:36 p.m. around the country on the Night Cafe radio show. On this Monday, we're going to get to those Night Cafe shoutouts. Plus, we've got the worldwide wave coming up. We're going to be talking to a gentleman in a short while who's outside of SA and wants to connect with the family and friends here in South Africa. Let's get back to the music now from Jabin and Palak. It's Kabil Hu on the Night Cafe. Good evening.